Have you ever wondered how to overcome your greatest fears and face seemingly impossible challenges? What if I told you that the story of a man, known as the most feared soldier in the Bible, holds the key to turning fear into unshakable courage? Benaiah wasn't just a warrior, he faced lions in pits, defeated giants, and became a timeless example of strength and faith. To truly appreciate Benaiah's courage, we need to step back in time and understand the world he lived in, a world of constant challenges, where survival often depended on strength, strategy, and faith. Benaiah was no ordinary man. As one of King David's mighty warriors, he stood out not just for his physical prowess but for his unwavering loyalty and bravery. His name is etched into the pages of history because of a few extraordinary feats, but one moment stands above all: his encounter with a lion in a snowy pit. Picture the scene: a freezing day, snow falling softly but making every step slippery and every movement more difficult. Benaiah spots a lion, a beast of raw power and predatory instinct. Most people would have turned and run, letting fear take control. Not Benaiah. He chose to confront the lion, not just on open ground but in the confines of a pit. But why would he do this? To understand, we need to look at the culture of his time. In ancient Israel, warriors were not merely fighters, they were defenders of their people, symbols of strength and faith. They stood between their communities and the dangers of the world, often embodying God's protection. By defeating this lion, Benaiah wasn't just proving his courage, he was showing his trust in a higher power and his readiness to fulfill his purpose. His actions didn't go unnoticed. Later, his bravery would elevate him to a position of great importance, overseeing King David's bodyguard and eventually rising under Solomon's reign. His story isn't just about an isolated act of bravery, it's a testament to what faith and courage can achieve when combined. And here's the incredible part: Benaiah wasn't superhuman. He faced the same fears and challenges we all do. His secret lay in his choice, to trust in God and act despite his fear. Lessons of courage from Benaiah. Benaiah's story is more than just an exciting tale, it's a blueprint for overcoming fear and living with unwavering courage. His actions demonstrate three key lessons that are as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. Lesson 1: Facing your fears head-on. Imagine standing in front of a lion, a creature with sharp claws, powerful jaws, and an instinct to attack. Most people would flee in terror, but not Benaiah. Instead of running, he stepped into the pit, knowing full well the danger. This act teaches us that true courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to confront it. Fear is a natural response, but it doesn't have to control you. Whether you're dealing with a daunting project, a tough conversation, or a major life change, the first step is choosing to face the challenge instead of avoiding it. Ask yourself, what's the lion in your life? It might be fear of failure, fear of rejection, or even fear of the unknown. Like Benaiah, you have the power to face it, not because you're fearless, but because you trust in something greater than your fear. Lesson 2: Preparation and character build courage. Benaiah didn't walk into that pit unprepared. As a warrior, he spent years honing his skills, training his body, and sharpening his mind. But more importantly, his character was forged through his faith and commitment to his mission. Preparation is the foundation of confidence. Whether it's studying for an exam, practicing a presentation, or praying for wisdom, the effort you put into preparation strengthens your resolve. Similarly, your character, shaped by your values, faith, and experiences, gives you the moral strength to act even when fear whispers, "You can't do this." Benaiah reminds us that courage isn't just about reacting in the moment. It's about the discipline and preparation that make those moments possible. Lesson 3: Faith as the cornerstone of bravery. What drove Benaiah into that pit wasn't just skill or strategy, it was his faith. He trusted that God was with him, guiding his steps and empowering his actions. That trust gave him the confidence to face impossible odds. Faith isn't just a spiritual concept, it's a practical source of strength. When you believe that God is with you, you're not alone in your struggles. That belief can transform fear into determination and hesitation into action. Think about your own challenges. What would change if you approached them with the conviction that you're not fighting alone? Benaiah's story is a reminder that faith is the ultimate weapon against fear. It shifts your focus from what you can't do to what God can do through you. Practical application. Now that we've explored the powerful lessons from Benaiah's life, let's turn these insights into action. It's one thing to be inspired by Benaiah's bravery, but it's another to apply his courage to our own lives. Let's break down how you can face your own challenges and transform fear into unshakable strength, just as Benaiah did. Step 1. Identify your fears. The first step to conquering fear is acknowledging it. Sometimes, the hardest part is simply naming what you're afraid of. Is it fear of failure? Fear of rejection? Or maybe it's fear of not living up to your potential. Just like Benaiah stepped into the lion's den, you too must step into your fears. Identify them, no matter how big or small. Understanding your fear is the first step in overcoming it. This doesn't mean you won't feel afraid, but it does mean you're not letting that fear control you. Step 2. Prepare mentally and spiritually. Once you've identified your fears, it's time to prepare. Benaiah didn't face the lion without being prepared. He was trained, both physically and mentally. But most importantly, he was grounded in his faith. You, too, need to prepare. Mentally, this means filling your mind with positive, empowering thoughts. It means knowing that you have the skills, the wisdom, and the determination to handle whatever comes your way. Spiritually, it's about leaning on your faith. Benaiah's courage was rooted in his trust in God, and yours can be, too. Take time to pray, meditate, or reflect on your strengths. Remind yourself of past victories, and let your faith strengthen your resolve. When you face challenges, remember that you have the tools to succeed, and, like Benaiah, you have the strength to move forward, even when the path seems uncertain. Step 3. Trust in God's guidance. Courage doesn't mean doing everything on your own. In fact, true bravery comes from knowing that you have God's support. When Benaiah faced the lion, he didn't rely solely on his own abilities, he trusted that God was with him in the fight. For you, this means trusting that God will guide you through your challenges. Whether it's a difficult decision, a tough relationship, or a new opportunity, take a step forward knowing that you are not alone. When you trust in God's plan, it's easier to move beyond your fears and take bold actions. Step 4. Take action. Fear often paralyzes us, but action is the antidote. Once you've identified your fears, prepared yourself, and trusted in God's guidance, the final step is to take action. Don't wait for the fear to disappear before you move forward. Benaiah didn't wait for the lion to leave the pit, he stepped in and faced it head-on. In your life, action might look like having that tough conversation, applying for that job, or pursuing a dream that feels too big. Action may not eliminate fear, but it will give you the strength to keep moving forward, even in the face of it. Take small steps every day. Even if you're afraid, take action anyway. The more you act, the more you'll build your courage. And just like Benaiah, you'll see how faith and action can help you conquer the greatest of fears. Benaiah was a remarkable figure in the Bible, known for his bravery, strength, and deep faith in God. His story appears primarily in the books of Samuel and Chronicles. As one of the mighty warriors who served under King David, Benaiah's life is filled with extraordinary feats that demonstrate his courage and commitment to God's purposes. Here are some key aspects of Benaiah's life and legacy. 1. A mighty warrior. Benaiah was one of King David's mighty men, a group of elite warriors who displayed incredible valor and loyalty. His military achievements were not just about physical strength, but also about his willingness to take on daunting and dangerous tasks in service to his king and his God. 2. Confronting the lion. One of the most famous stories about Benaiah comes from 2 Samuel 23 verse 20, where it says that Benaiah went down into a pit on a snowy day and killed a lion. This story stands out for its symbolism. Not only did Benaiah face a literal danger, fighting a lion, but he did so in an environment that was difficult and treacherous, facing both physical and environmental challenges. The lion represents more than just an animal, it's a metaphor for the fears and challenges in life. Benaiah didn't back down in the face of fear, instead, he confronted it head-on, in a dark, cold pit, showing that true courage often involves facing our toughest challenges in the most difficult circumstances. 3. Defeating a giant. Benaiah also took on a giant-like warrior from the Moabites, who were known for their formidable strength and military prowess. This battle shows Benaiah's resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. He wasn't intimidated by the size or reputation of his enemy. Much like David's famous battle with Goliath, Benaiah demonstrated that faith and courage can overcome physical limitations. 4. Loyalty to King David. Benaiah was fiercely loyal to King David. His bravery wasn't only about fighting battles, but also about serving his king with unwavering loyalty, no matter the risk. This loyalty eventually led to his promotion as the commander of David's personal bodyguard, and later, under Solomon's reign, he became the chief of the army, demonstrating how his character and integrity had a lasting impact. 5. A man of faith. Benaiah's courage wasn't just about physical prowess. His bravery was deeply rooted in his faith in God. He trusted God for the strength to face his challenges. His story is a powerful reminder that true courage comes not from ourselves, but from our reliance on God's strength and guidance. His faith was the foundation of his courage and his success in battle. 6. A symbol of courage for us today. Benaiah's life is an inspiring example for us today. His acts of bravery, both in the physical and spiritual realms, challenge us to confront our own fears, to face the lions in our lives with faith and determination. His story teaches us that courage doesn't mean the absence of fear, but the willingness to take action in spite of it. Benaiah's legacy reminds us that with faith, preparation, and a commitment to God's purposes, we can overcome any challenge. His courage wasn't just about fighting battles, it was about living a life of purpose and showing us how to act with integrity, loyalty, and strength in the face of adversity. Benaiah's legacy in leadership. Benaiah's story is not only about physical feats of strength but also about leadership and the role of a godly warrior in a kingdom. After King David's death, Benaiah's loyalty and courage helped him rise to prominence. When Solomon took the throne, Benaiah became the commander of the entire Israeli army, further solidifying his legacy as a key figure in the establishment of the kingdom. His leadership was marked by strategic thinking, personal integrity, and a deep sense of justice. Benaiah's rise to power under Solomon demonstrates that his faith and courage were not just for moments of battle, but that his character was trusted and respected in the highest circles. He proved that spiritual strength and godliness can lead to influence and authority. 8. A man of action. Benaiah wasn't just someone who talked about courage, he embodied it through action. His story is an invitation to live a life of action, rather than simply thinking or talking about doing something. Whether it was stepping into a pit with a lion or taking on a mighty warrior, Benaiah knew that faith requires action. We often face moments when we're unsure, when we don't feel ready or equipped, but Benaiah's example teaches us that courage is stepping forward even when we feel unprepared. This aspect of Benaiah's life encourages us to ask ourselves, what are the pits in our own lives where we need to take action? What are the lions we need to face? Sometimes, stepping forward is the hardest part, but it's often the first step toward transformation. 9. The power of preparation. Benaiah's bravery was not an accident. While he had incredible courage, it was grounded in his preparedness. Before facing a lion or a giant, Benaiah had spent years training, refining his physical strength and honing his combat skills. More importantly, he had a deep spiritual preparation that allowed him to trust in God when the stakes were high. In our own lives, courage and strength come from preparation, not only in physical or external ways, but also spiritually. Whether we are preparing for challenges in our personal lives, work, or relationships, it's important to remember that preparation, through faith, prayer, and commitment to God's Word, gives us the strength to face whatever comes our way. 10. A call to modern-day warriors. Today, Benaiah's life is a powerful call to action for us as modern-day warriors. In our world, we may not face literal lions or giants, but we certainly face metaphorical ones. We deal with fear, doubt, and the challenges of life that seem insurmountable. Benaiah's story reminds us that the same courage, faith, and trust in God that helped him overcome seemingly impossible odds can guide us through our own trials. Whether you're struggling with personal fears, battling doubts, or trying to step into a new season of life, Benaiah's example encourages you to face those challenges head-on, with faith, strength, and a willingness to act. His story reminds us that God is with us every step of the way, providing the courage we need when we choose to take action. 11. The lion, the pit, and the snow, a metaphor for life. Benaiah's fight with the lion in a pit on a snowy day is one of the most powerful and vivid images in the Bible. This moment symbolizes the cold, dark, and challenging times we all face in life. The lion represents our greatest fears and struggles, and the pit is the place of isolation, difficulty, or despair. The snow adds an element of hardship. It wasn't just a battle with the lion, it was also a battle against the harshest conditions. Yet, Benaiah didn't back down. In fact, the more difficult the situation, the greater his victory. His story teaches us that the toughest moments in life often lead to our greatest breakthroughs. When we feel like we're stuck in a pit with no way out, it's important to remember that we are not alone. God is with us, and He equips us with the strength to face the hardest challenges and come out victorious. 12. A life of faith and fearlessness. Ultimately, Benaiah's story is a testimony of living a life of faith and fearlessness. His victories were not just about his personal strength, but about his trust in God's plan and purpose for his life. His faith gave him the courage to take on the most daunting tasks and to stand firm, even in the face of terrifying challenges. For us, Benaiah's story calls us to consider how much we trust God in our own lives. Do we allow our fears to hold us back, or do we, like Benaiah, step out in faith, trusting that God is with us, even in the midst of our fears? In our own struggles, the greatest victories are not won by the strongest, but by those who rely on God's strength and trust that He will guide them through every battle. Just as Benaiah was equipped for battle through his faith, we too are called to live fearlessly, knowing that God is our strength and refuge. In conclusion, Benaiah's life offers more than just an inspiring story of bravery. It is a blueprint for how we can live a life of courage, faith, and action. By facing our fears, preparing ourselves spiritually, and trusting in God, we can overcome any challenge that comes our way. Benaiah shows us that our courage doesn't come from within ourselves but from God, who equips us with the strength and bravery needed to face our own lions in life. As we move forward, let's remember Benaiah's example. Let's take action, trust God, and face the challenges of our own lives with the same courage and faith that Benaiah showed. No matter what life throws at us, we can stand strong, knowing that God is our guide, and like Benaiah, we too can be mighty warriors for His kingdom. Benaiah's story reminds us that courage doesn't mean the absence of fear, it means choosing to move forward, even when fear is present. His life teaches us that with faith, preparation, and trust in God, we can face any challenge head-on, no matter how big or scary it may seem. Just like Benaiah, you have the strength to overcome the lions in your life, one brave step at a time. If Benaiah's story inspired you, don't forget to subscribe and join us for more stories that challenge and inspire. Remember, courage isn't about waiting for the storm to pass, it's about learning to dance in the rain. Are you ready to face your lions?